Next on Rugby Wrap-Up's MLR Weekly, Houston SaberCats hooker sensation, Wunderkind, Seth Smith, Team USA legend turned NCR Director of Rugby, Alicia Washington, and global rugby savant, executive, and elite coach Stephen Lewis. Rugby Wrap-Up's MLR Weekly brought to you by Sheehy Auto Stores. It's easy at Sheehy. The Pig and Whistle, New York City, the world's best rugby pub. And Lean and Limber, stretching your way to a healthier lifestyle.
There is a massive responsibility on the 23 that are privileged enough to step out on that field today.
And we are back, and we have the pleasure of welcoming in Alicia Washington, who has got a new gig as the Director of Rugby for the women's program for the NCR, the National Collegiate Rugby. Alicia, welcome to MLR Weekly.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. What an intro.
So, Alicia, what is the number 237?
237 is my Eagle number.
Aha!
Yes.
Good for you. And what does the number 26 mean to you?
26 is the number of international caps I have with the U.S.
Including a World Cup in 2017?
Including the World Cup in 2017.
I thought so. So, yet another person that I am jealous of. Okay.
You're doing great.
Now you've landed a great gig, and that is Director of Rugby for the women's program for the National Collegiate Rugby with something like 8,000 players and 300 clubs. Could that possibly be accurate?
Across NCR, yes, we have the lion's share. About 85% of the college landscape is housed within NCR. So
what in your job history prepared you most for this role?
Oh, goodness. Let's go down my resume. Well, I have a master's in sport management from The Ohio State University. I spent 8 years as a club
So arrogant.
That's the name.
No, I don't care. I went to the University of Buffalo.
Perfect.
Okay?
Perfect. Right. I love that for you.
DUB. Sounds like a network.
I spent 8 years working in campus recreation before I went abroad, where I was a club sport director at University of New Haven, which was a great time, learned a lot there. And then I spent the last 17 years playing rugby. So this feels like a good culmination of sports management, actual experience as a player. I've coached, I've refereed, I've been an administrator. So I think I've been well groomed for this position.
Well, you missed the only thing that I care about, and the only thing that makes you qualified is that you are a storied member of the New York Rugby Club, the best rugby club on the planet.
On the planet, truly, my home base.
What part of that why did your fellow clubmate have to bring that up, Alicia?
Because 17 years of rugby was encompassed in that, with a great time at New York Rugby Club. Truly my home, with a culture that I have not seen matched anywhere else in the world. A truly amazing group of people.
Thank you. I take full credit for the entire organization since 1929. Okay. All right, let's move along. What was the biggest playing moment for you in your career, would you say?
Probably my invitation to play with the Barbarians. That to me was like an incredible experience. I got a chance to wear that jersey on 3 separate tours, and the second tour was probably my favorite because we were supposed to have a doubleheader with the men's Barbarians at Twickenham, and then they had COVID in camp, so their game had to get canceled. And so we were the main match on the BBC at Twickenham with a record-breaking female attendance.
An opportunity open for you guys. That's awesome.
Exactly. That was an amazing experience to be at Twickenham as the standalone. And so many fans, like they were told, hey, the men's game is canceled, and nearly 30,000 stayed, which is beyond that being cool in itself. I think it's a great sign for the growth of women's rugby. And that was in 2022.
Well, you're going to be getting into an executive position in women's rugby at a better time right now. I mean, the climate here is so awesome.
Yes.
And, the publicity that we're getting. And I know Alona Marr is getting a lot of it, but her teammates on that team were a big part of that, as you know. And, seeing the 15s program now get the excitement that they had against Fiji in DC.
Yes.
When the men played England, it was a great weekend, and the women really stole the show.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Lightning stole the rest of the
Yeah, Lightning truly stole the show that weekend.
And the beer
men played their hearts out.
Yeah, but
did a great job.
Great climate. But let me ask you this.
Yes.
The $1 million question. We are right there with sevens, and we are. How do we get there in 15s in the women's program? Because you got Canada and you got England, and that's going to be a tough pool. How do we beat them other than making them miss the bus?
So it is going to be a tough pool. I think our pool has been called the pool of death just because USA, England, Samoa, Australia, really tough four. Everything hinges on that Australia game that is a must win for us and with a good point differential. So I think the way we finish it is just the girls working together. Like, they've done so much work getting on the same page. They're getting more game exposures. After the game in Fiji, which felt close, they won against like a closed door match the next weekend, more handedly. So I think that is great growth for the team. They really showed well, especially in the first half against Canada. And I think it's making it an 80-minute performance. We can't come off strong and stay in the locker room for the second half. And I know that the girls are working so hard. They want to make sure that everyone in the States is proud of them. And they know that their job is to put on an 80-minute performance. And I believe that they can do that.
The acronym soup in college rugby with all the different entities is starting to whittle down. And we are getting so close to making it something that's attractive for sponsors and networks. How can you get in the middle of the boys' fight here on the CRAA and the NCR and you help unite the clans?
So I'm looking to make connections. I'm looking to grow rugby. I'm looking to give everyone more opportunity, create more collaboration, more cohesion, and that's what I'm here to do, not worry about the past.
That sounds like common sense and wisdom. What is this?
Because there's women in the room now, and we need to listen to the women in the room that are wanting to collaborate. I mean, they've always been here. All credit to everyone that came before me, especially in NCR, but we need to just move forward.
Sign me up. Sign me up, because, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, right?
Exactly. So, we're never going to win a home World Cup if we keep fighting each other. So let's focus on that.
And we got the New York Rugby Club tentacles everywhere on the planet to make this thing work. And I'm with you 100%. All right. Alicia Washington, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much, Matt.
We'll be right back with the sensation out of Houston that is Seth Smith. After this.
Digs like a demented mole there.
Need a great price on a new vehicle? Sheehy makes it easy. Easy Price shows you our lowest prices on the Mid-Atlantic's largest selection. Find your best price online or at any of our 31 dealerships.
It's easy at Sheehy. Sheehy.com.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street.
How you doing? I'm Jim Hamilton. I'm at the Pig and Whistle. I'm at the famous Pig and Whistle. Look, I've got my rucksack on. I'm a well-known man around the world as one of the best rugby players to have ever played the game. No, I'm not. It's a lie. But we've got Paul O'Connell's montage on the wall. I've heard a lot about this place, and I'm here. Make sure, though, that you come here, but you also tune in to Rugby Wrap-Up.
And we are back, and we have none other than Seth Smith, the Houston SaberCats hooker/legend. Seth, welcome to MLR Weekly.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. And truth be told, because you're not yet 21, we have to have a guardian in the studio for you so that you can come. No, that's all nonsense. I'm just kidding. I'm starting out as a jerk, Seth. I'm starting out as a jerk.
All good. All good.
All right, that's not true. Seth's totally on his own. And Seth, you're an amazing story. It's remarkable to me that you're going into your third season of professional rugby. Hopefully, you never know with the climate that we're in right now. At this taping, they're talking. Who knows what's going to happen? I'm an optimist. I think you're going into your third season. That's a different topic for a different segment. But that means You started at 18, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, and you didn't go to college. You came right out of high school?
Yes, sir. That's true. I did not go to college.
Okay, so walk me back to this. You're a 2 or 3 sport athlete in high school. You played. I know you wrestled and you played rugby
And football.
You graduated high school, and how quickly were you with the SaberCats?
So the day after I graduated, I was at practice. I was on a practice contract my first year. Literally the day after I graduated. So I think I graduated on Thursday, and that Friday I was at practice.
Were they scouting you, or what? How did that transpire?
Yeah, so I played with the men's team. So whenever HTX, back like the SaberCats Academy, formerly known as the Twos, I played with them my senior year of high school, and so I guess I played well enough to catch an eye from the coaches, and then right as I graduated, they gave me the opportunity to come practice to, I guess, see what I have, and then the rest is history.
Wow, remarkable! And you played fullback, which is a running back position for those that don't know American football, in high school. So did you immediately go to hooker?
So I originally started as like an 8/7, so I was more of like a flanker, back row kind of guy. And then I'll be honest, most of your hookers were too short to be flank and put on too much weight. So then they threw me to hooker.
Let's talk about your professional career. And I know looking back, it's got to be a whirlwind, right? I mean, just maybe it's like for me, every rugby game turns into one long game over the years, right? You know, you're thinking about it, or maybe not, and things fly by, right? But do you have 2 or 3 moments where you just stood there and said, "Oh, this is cool"?
So it's funny that you mentioned this, and I'm getting goosebumps. I don't know if you can see on camera, but I'm getting goosebumps. But every single game during warm-ups, I always run onto the field and just take 30 seconds to 45 seconds to look around and really take in the whole environment. Because, you know, like, it's such a special thing for me to be where I'm at, especially so young. Because, like, a lot of guys come out of college at, like, 22, 23, 24, and they're, like, fighting to stay on a team and fighting to, like, play. But I'm in a position to where I'm blessed to go out every single week and have a chance to roster, and especially, like, with the dynamic hookers this year, you know, me and Peta were fighting for that starting spot, and Wilton's so versatile that he played prop and hooker.
Yeah.
And so for me to be able to play on the field, I just had to take everything in every single game. Because like you said, like over the years they stretch, but every game is not guaranteed. You know what I mean? Like especially this year, I've noticed like with the hamstring injury, and then I broke my collarbone. And so everything just, it all stacked up, and I looked at it like, especially in Pawtucket, just going on that field and looking around and being in that environment, being able to play in an MLR final was just, it was an insane feeling. I can honestly say it's one of the best feelings I've ever had.
It was a cool environment, too.
Very cool environment.
Your office, so to speak, is the tight 5 or the pack, and you get to rub elbows with the likes of Johan Momsen and Marno Ringlingebeis on a daily basis. What's and Ronan Murphy and Emmanuel Albert? What's your relationship with these guys?
Yeah, so I'm very close to those guys. I mean, especially coming in so young, my dad always told me to be a sponge. So learning everything I can from anybody. You know what I mean? And like, especially in the front row, like me learning behind Peta, and then being able to start with 2 USA Eagles and Ezekiel and Pono. So, I mean, and then we could go on and on about the pack and how successful all those guys have been and how much experience they have. So being able to learn from them, especially on a personal level as well. Like, especially with Marnu. Like, one thing we talked about is if I want to have a long career, you take care of your body. And so that's something me and him have talked about a lot. And then especially with Momsen, like working out with him as well. It's just, we're such a tight-knit group of guys that I'm very fortunate to be in this situation.
Finally, before we let you go, let's talk about right now. You're in Atlanta, right?
Yes, sir.
And this is your first apartment?
Yes, sir. My first apartment.
So are you living with somebody in this apartment? Are you solo? And you don't have to, if this is going to incriminate you, you don't have to answer that question.
No, I'm living with one of my childhood best friends. It's actually super convenient. We grew up, we live like a 5-minute walk from each other back home in Houston. We've been friends since 1st or 2nd grade. And so I actually got him into rugby. And so now me and him got our first apartment together.
And you're playing with Life?
Yes, sir. With the men's team.
And well, I would have guessed that.
Yes, sir.
So is there a relationship with the SaberCats, or is it just you're independent now and you're just playing on your own to keep playing?
I guess to answer your question is like they love for me to be playing in the off season. No matter where it is, they love to see that because obviously it leads to experience and growth. So I mean, there's definitely like a very tight relationship between me and Houston. But yeah, they're excited I'm out here getting more game time, hopefully bring a little bit more experience next year.
So Seth, how about the Eagles? How about playing for the Eagles? Is that something that you think about a lot? Do you want to play for them? Do you want to represent your country?
Yes, sir, I do. I represent them at the U18s level and then the U20s level, and I'm ready. I am ready for my men's call-up.
All right, so you're at Life, and I think that's USA's scrum coach is there, isn't he?
Yes, sir, Blake Bradford.
Ah, so there's a method to your madness.
Yes, sir, I try and learn from him as much as I can.
All right, and before I let you go, I got to switch it to baseball. And this question, I want you to really consider how you answer this question.
Okay.
I'm assuming that you're an Astros fan?
I used to play a little bit of baseball, but yes, the Astros.
Okay. Yankees or Mets? If you had to choose one.
Okay, everybody likes the Yankees, so I'm gonna go Mets.
Yes! Yes!
I'm gonna go Mets because I know everybody always talks about the Yankees, so I'm gonna go the Mets. I love the underdogs.
Seth Smith, you are now the most favorite MLR Weekly star to ever have come on this program. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. I don't think we can talk anymore, Seth. I mean, that's just it. That's it right there. It's a drop the mic and let's get the heck out of here moment for both of us. Boom. Seth Smith, thank you for coming on MLR Weekly.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, don't go away. We'll be back with the always spectacular Stephen Lewis, the Scotsman, with all things sevens, including the National Club Sevens, after this.
I wouldn't like to be at the bottom of that.
You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. Young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now. This is the Rugby Odds, where an unlikely pundit panel of a wordsmith, a WWE legend, a rugby star, and a supermodel scour the globe, seeking best bets and bad behavior. Are you not entertained? And we are back with Mr. Stephen Lewis, the Rugby 7s and 15s czar of Elevate-Rugby.com. Steve, you're all over the globe right now. You're a hot commodity. I think you're in Wisconsin, and then you're off to Nigeria. And I just wanted to welcome you back to MLR Weekly. And I'm wearing plaid because of you.
Excellent. Excellent. I've never seen you look better.
All right. Well, Steve, I've never seen you look better. Let's get on with the interview. You got in from the airport at like 3:40 a.m. You're up early to come on this show because you're catching a flight to Nigeria. You're all over the place, specifically right now, this time of the year with sevens. Catch us up on where you were just now.
Yeah, so this weekend was the USA Rugby Club Sevens Nationals. And it was held, it's the annual event, top sevens clubs across the country, men and women. It was held again in Madison, Wisconsin, Madison United Rugby Complex, which is a spectacular complex, beautiful clubhouse, purpose-built, 2 grass fields. Madison, a little difficult to get to for some teams in terms of travel, but once you're there, it's a great venue. Unfortunately, this weekend, they had some real issues with weather. Significant storms, lightning, thunder disrupted a lot of games, and they did a fantastic job getting the tournament finished. But had to cancel some games in lower ranking on the Sunday to get it done. But they did a good job finishing it. It was good location, and with sevens being in very much a sort of defensive crouch at the moment, it was good that they pulled off a national sevens tournament and got it played.
Great way of describing that, a defensive crouch. Explain that just a little briefly.
Yeah, well, on a sort of macro level, obviously World Rugby has made some decisions which would take us, some time to discuss, but they're basically deprioritizing sevens, shall we say, at the international level, which hurts USA Rugby, in my opinion, because we're quite good at sevens, or we can be competitive at sevens. So with that going on, less international competition, that doesn't help. USA men's dropping to tier 2 may impact funding. And it could be, a death spiral. So both internationally and within the States, sevens is, it was flying high when it got into the Olympics, and we're going well for 4, 5, 6 years. But it's defensive crouch is how I would characterize it.
And how about the women's sevens?
Women's sevens, though, US women, fantastic, right? Bronze medalists. And that's an interesting thing because they've retained their place on the World Series. So they're still in the upper echelon, the main part of the World Series. So they're fine. They had a good year blooding. Emily Bidewell, actually, the women's coach, was there at the weekend. And they had a good year last year blooding players. So the women's program is in good shape. It is very robust, very healthy. It's the men's program who got relegated to the second tier of international competition. So they are, and what that does, it can impact funding, it can impact interest. If you're a young player, you're not in the World Series going to 8 venues anymore. So that excitement is gone. You still have the excitement of the aspirationally of making the Olympics, right, in LA. But the year in that sort of that whole lifestyle is gone.
All right, well, let's get back to the weekend of excitement that you just had, that you just partook in. And you were there coaching, correct?
Yes, so I coach Old Blue in New York City. So we were there. We are sort of perennial visitors to this tournament. And we actually had a good run. We were 5-1 over the weekend, took 3rd place, beating our good friends in the Northeast Mystic. They were 4th, so good weekends for the Northeast teams. We had a bit of a heartbreaking one, Our only loss was a double overtime loss to Chicago Lions in the final. So as a coach, when you got a 14-0 lead and you're 2 minutes to go and you don't close it out, breathtakingly heartbreaking, shall we say. Heartbreaking. So that was what I was doing, coaching Old Blue again. The games themselves, the tournaments themselves, were Nova triumphed for the men, 15-14 over the Chicago Lions. And then with the women, it was Chicago Lions, 17-14 over Chicago North Shore. Chicago Derby in the women. What's, I think, commendable and interesting is Chicago Lions as a club had a finalist in the men and a finalist in the women.
Yeah.
So they're to be tip of the hat there. They, the women coached by Dave Fee, who kind of runs the tournament these days. So both games came down to the last play. I mean, if you were a neutral, these were fantastic games and fantastic finals. So those were the winners. 3rd place in the women was Sion. So that was kind of an upset. They were the hot favourites going in. And on the men's side, there were some upsets. Belmont Shore were heavily favoured. They lost to Nova in the quarters. Also, the St. Louis Bombers were probably favoured too. They lost to Chicago Lions.
Is Nova out of D.C.?
Correct, Northern Virginia.
And they have Owen Sheehy on that team?
They do. I believe he got the MVP in the final.
So we can seamlessly work in a Sheehy Auto Stores plug right now with Owen Sheehy as the what of the tournament?
I think he was the final in the MVP. I left by that stage.
Unbelievable. And that's all because it's easy at sheehy.com. All right. That aside, did you see any players that really caught your eye? Any MLR type players?
Yes. And it's hard when you're coaching because you're in your own space and you're dealing with your own guys.
But I know you're always thinking. You're always the executive and the coach and even the player at the same time, Steve. That's how good you are.
Yeah. So I think, if you had an MVP of the tournament, and I am biased here, but it would have been one of our guys, Shadrach Mandaza. He was electric all weekend long. Interestingly enough, he's the 2-time MVP of the CRC at college. So that would have been a good double. If he made the final, he'd have got it, and that would have been a unique achievement.
What school was he out of with the CRC?
Wheeling. So, as you know, Old Blue and Mystic, for that matter, my good friend TC, we believe in bringing in college kids in the summer. You know, that's kind of part of the recruiting thing, bringing them into sevens. So, obviously, I got my finger in a few pies, and when I see a good player, you know, and I can get him up to New York City, I get him up to New York City.
All right, you TC, of course, you mean Thomas Clark, the famous Thomas Clark.
Mystic, yeah. One more point, what I thought just generally standard-wise, I thought you might find interesting is that in comparison, I mean, I've been going to this tournament for whatever it is, 15 years or so. And I thought the men's side was, you know, good, robust competition. As I said, we had a couple of upsets. So the standard overall was pretty good. Ben Pinkelman was there on behalf of USA Rugby. He's the Falcons coach, of course, the former star Olympic player. So he was there scouting. Emily Bidel, as I mentioned, was there on the women's side. On the women's side, not quite as much strength. So club rugby has not quite recovered for the women post-COVID. Really a perfect storm. You got things like you had WPL moving to the summer, and then this last year you had WER, Women's Elite Rugby, playing. And with a smaller playing population, right, smaller playing base on the women's game, so those players not being available has impacted the strength and depth of the women's game. So you know, you had 16 teams on the women's side, but there was probably 6 or 7 that were really competing, whereas I would say in the men's side, you know, it's probably 11, 12. So, yeah, the women's club game has dipped a little bit in the sevens, but that's, in some ways, that's a good thing, right?
Steve, just give us a glimpse of your schedule.
Yeah, well, it's Nigeria for a week. Then I go straight from there to Denver, Rugby Town Sevens with the Jesters. Come back, and then I am heading off a new gig. You heard it here first. Breaking news: coaching Guyana this fall in the RAN Sevens, which is the Caribbean competition. Come back helping out Babson with their preseason camp. What else? Oh yeah, October is all in Costa Rica, so I'm helping them. They prepare for Central American Games in Guatemala, and I'm going with them to Ecuador. So that's September, August, September, October.
And you just got back from Madison, Wisconsin. You're just all over the place. You're crazy that way. Can you donate your frequent flyer miles to MLR Weekly?
Yeah, that's the only thing that's keeping me going. Yeah, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is just a
It isn't?
Lifestyle.
Rugby. I thought everybody made millions working in rugby.
Yeah, exactly.
Stephen, we appreciate you coming on, taking the time. You're on limited sleeping hours. You're traveling. You're circling the globe with elevate-rugby.com. Safe travel, Stephen. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks, Matt.
And right there, we got to stop it short. So thank you to Mr. Stephen Lewis. Thank you to Alicia Washington. And thank you to Seth Smith. And also, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you check out the Rugby Odds. It's always entertaining. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Sign up for our weekly newsletter. And please join our American Red Cross blood donor team.